And we can just start with screen one. Okay, good morning. My name is David Toole from Home Team Inspection Service Tucson. I really appreciate this opportunity. Thank you, Kayla, for inviting me. It's great to be here and talk about a subject that I am really passionate about. I am the owner and operator of Home Team Inspection Service Tucson. And I want to give you a little bit of background of how I came to be here. For the last 20 years, 20 out of 23 years, I ran a trucking company in Illinois. I'd always wanted to own my own business, but Illinois is not the most business-friendly state, so I kind of gave that up. Didn't think it was going to happen. In 2017, I had friends that actually moved to Tucson with the Caterpillar relocation. In 2018, we visited them, and the joke had been, when you guys moving out here, when you move into Tucson, Tucson's great. And it's like, yeah, whatever. And before my wife and I went out there, I told her, I said, now look, we're not moving. We are not moving to Tucson. It's just not going to happen. And we came out here in, I think it was May or June of 18. And I get to looking around, it's like, this is a pretty nice place. And why am I not wanting to move out here? So I actually started a job search through all the internet means, not Open Door, but Glassdoor and all those places, and didn't have just took a while to get a job 2,000 miles away. And in 2019, I attended a job fair in November, and I had other appointments with job placement. And I tell you, it just, everything that could go wrong did go wrong. It was obvious that this wasn't going to be a profitable venture, and said it was a closed door and went on. And that was in November of 2019. In December of 2019, I was contacted by a franchise placement company, and I thought, yeah, I don't really want to talk to them because they just want my money. But I called them anyway, and as we talked, they didn't want my money. It's if I was placed somewhere, then that company would pay for it. And she started talking about Home Team as one of the options. And it was very interesting. I had a history of remodeling and building. So January 23rd, 2020, I met with Paul Spires. Paul Spires is the founder and CEO of Home Team. And Paul has a passion for home inspection and what it does and what it's able to do for its clients. And his passion was contagious. On the drive home, we kind of said, we're all in. And so that meant I had to finish my remodel job. So my real estate agent in Illinois gave me February to finish, which I was able to accomplish. In March, I started the AHIT training. AHIT is an acronym for American Home Inspectors Training. It's a 90-hour online course that you take at your own speed. At the end of that course, there is a 500-question, 4-hour test to test or to pass the national standards for this. I tested in April. I was very fortunate to pass the first time. It's not an easy test to pass. Each time you take it, you get to pay them an extra $250 or something like that. So I was able to pass. So nationally, I had passed that. So then I came to Arizona. Arizona is a different animal. I had to do additional testing here. The biggest part of the testing was 30 parallels with a licensed, experienced home inspector. And I was to shadow them. I was to do my own inspections alongside them. June of that year was right in the middle of COVID. And I was told I would probably have to travel to Phoenix, and it could take 6 to 8 weeks. Providence stepped in, and I was actually able to test with or to parallel with the president of Arizona ASHI. And ASHI is another acronym for the American Society of Home Inspectors. And they're the ones that create the standards of practice, and it's a licensed group that I'm involved with. I finished mid-July, licensed by the end of August. but I still wasn't open. So in the meantime, I traveled to Phoenix and with a franchisor there from Home Team, and I was able to do another 20 or 25 parallel inspections with him using our proprietary software. So Arizona is not Ohio. Arizona has a lot of things that Ohio does not have. So this gentleman in Phoenix had actually rewritten the software to meet the standards of Arizona. So with that, that's kind of the history of how I came to be a home inspector and got here in Tucson. Kayla, let's go to slide number 2. Today we want to talk a little bit about, we're going to talk about the evolution. Home inspections actually not that old, 40 to 50 years. We want to talk about how we got, I told you how I got here. We want to tell you how home inspections got here, kind of the scope of a home inspections, some of the common defects, what we're looking for, tips to keep in mind throughout the process. Today, I want to leave you with a clear understanding of the importance of a professional home inspection and more knowledge of what a home inspection is, the scope, some common defects, and some tips for handling the inspection. Slide number 3, please. So at the beginning, this was completely an unregulated business. They were kind of making it up as they went. They had few standards, no licensing, but over the last 40 to 50 years, it's evolved tremendously and has come to be a common, necessary component of a real estate transaction. Today, a home inspection is almost universally recommended by all real estate professionals. Let's go to slide 4, please. In the 60s, it was done by contractors and remodelers looking to make some extra money. While it provided limited protection, again, the industry was unregulated. So there were no standardizations, there was no standards of practice, no regulations, no testing, nothing. The first standards of practice were created in the 70s, and we saw further upgrades to the SOP as well as courses, regulation, and testing. Paul actually started in the 70s, and I think 79. Paul Spire started this in Ohio. In the 90s, the boom began, and we saw home inspections performed at over 75% of all transactions. Several franchise organizations began to emerge, Home Team and several others, and there was a shift towards full service professional companies. No longer was it done just by a remodeler who was looking to make some extra money or one of the contractors, but as a full-time business. Most independents, inspectors began to either adapt or just leave the industry altogether. Professional organizations, ASHI, INTRNACHI, began to create standards of practice, and some states then began requiring inspectors to be licensed, and this was in the 90s. Today, a home inspection is almost universally recommended by the real estate professional, and us as a home inspector, we are viewed as professionals, along with the agents, the appraisers, the lenders, and the title companies, to help make buyers make an educated purchase decision. And that's really what we're here to do, is to help them make an educated decision. And we also help limit some of your liability. In fact, even some homeowners, when they're listing their homes for sale, will now start to get their homes inspected to some degree. Some will even do a full home inspection. So at the end, it's a lot quicker, and they get, more money and fewer problems at the end. Let's skip to number 7, please. What is a home inspection? It's important to be aware of the types of of items that are included in the inspection and what is outside the scope of an inspection. The purpose of home inspection is to visually examine the readily accessible systems and components of the home and report on items thought to be unsafe or have major defects. What's a major defect? A system or a component that is unsafe or not functioning. Items that are defective or unsafe will be described in a written report. The inspection is it's a snapshot. It's a snapshot of the home at the time of inspection. It is not meant to be any warranty or insurance of the home, but it rather provides your clients with an unbiased opinion of the home from a professional home inspector who is a generalist with a wide range of knowledge in a variety of areas. If any areas indicating needing further exploration, we will recommend that a specialist in that area be brought in. The other day I was inspecting a home and it had multiple HVAC units. One was a heat pump, and the last time they sealed the roof, they painted the heat pump. I couldn't tell who made it, how it worked. I couldn't tell anything. And so basically at the end of that report, we said we needed to have a professional HVAC guy come in, HVAC contractor come in and give us a report on that heat pump, just because there was, again, we are a generalist and we take a snapshot of the house of that day, in that day. So if we have to, we will, we can, ask for additional help or, bring in a professional. Let's go to slide 9. I think I forgot to tell you to go to 8, but you did it anyway. Here it says state requirements and regulations. So when I look up the Arizona ASHI, the American Society for Home Inspectors, SOP, it is it's a 10-page document, 8 pages of exactly what we do and don't do, and 2 pages of glossary just to explain what we're talking about. We are not going to go over that today. Instead of going into the minutia of everything that we do inspect and don't inspect, I want to give you that snapshot again. Like the snapshot of the home, we want to give you a snapshot of what a home inspection is, and just that snapshot to give some general information at the home at the time of the inspection. So we won't go into all those, but let's go to number 10. Outside the scope, things that we don't talk about. We don't talk about chipped paint usually. We don't talk about minor repairs that have happened. We don't. I mean, a lot of times I tell the clients at the end, we don't talk about chipped paint, but a lot of times we'll notice that there's been, if the paint is irregular, we're gonna bring that to their attention because something happened there, or if we saw previous repairs. We don't necessarily know what that is, but we bring it to their attention. Home inspectors cannot inspect for code compliance. We are not code inspectors. We're not employed by the city or the state. It's illegal for us to complete a code inspection because codes change so often. That's a completely separate entity. Lastly, a home inspection is non-evasive. And when I say non-evasive, we don't pull off light covers. We don't cut a hole in the drywall to see what's behind the wall. We don't move furniture. We don't crawl across the bed to see if we can open the window on the other side. Let's go to number 11. And I forgot to tell you, I want to make this interactive. If you guys have a question, please just stop me. We can take questions at the end. But if something comes up and you say, I don't know what you're talking about, or I have a question, please just speak out. Number 11, main categories. What will the inspection be? What are the areas that we really concentrate on? The structural system of the home. Structural system including floors, walls, ceilings, roofs, as well as foundation, the structure of the home. Many times a home buyer, they're not going to know about the foundations and the walls and the roofs. So that's what we're there for. We talk about the home exterior, such as all siding and cladding, exterior doors, decks and porches, eaves, soffits, walkways, and patios. As you guys are bringing in a home buyer, they're looking at this home and they just see, this is our new home. This is, and they're imagining where their furniture goes and everything like that. And they can miss some of these things. So we're there to make sure we check those out. The roof system. The roof system in Arizona is extremely important. It's important anywhere, but in Arizona, it's very important. And we're going to talk about the roofing materials. We're going to talk about the drainage systems. We're going to talk about flashings and chimneys and skylights and anything that's up on that roof. We want them to know about, because as a home buyer, they're not going to get up on the roof and look at it for themselves. And that's what we're there to do. We're going to talk about the plumbing system, the interior supply and distribution, waste systems, water heaters, venting, things that you're not going to be looking at. In the attic, we're going to be checking the venting. In the roof, we're going to be checking the venting penetrations. And sump pumps. Now, that obviously came from an Ohio standard of practice. There's not many sump pumps in Arizona. There's a few, but not many. We're going to check out the electrical system, service components. We will describe what the components are made of. We're going to talk about the disconnects. We're going to make sure the homeowner knows where their main disconnect is if they have to turn the power off. We're going to talk to them about their service panels, their overcurrent protection, their breakers. We're going to talk about the representative number of fixtures. Do the lights outside work? Do the lights inside work? The switches, the receptacles. We're going to talk about all those things. There'll be a report on every one of them. Heating and air conditioning. Again, very, very important. We're going to talk about the furnaces. We're going to talk about the components. Who made the furnace? How old is the furnace? What's the BTUs of the furnace? And again, if I'm saying something that you're not sure what I'm talking about, please let me know. We're going to talk about humidifiers, kind of important out here. We're going to talk about air filters, when they should be changed and what kinds there are, if they're disposable, if they're washable. We're going to talk about central cooling. Very important. We want to talk about the HVA system. Again, we're not going to tell them it's going to last for 10 more years, but we'll tell them who made it. We're going to tell them the kind of refrigerant it's used. We're going to tell them, we may recommend something of design life. I think it was this week, we found a water heater that was, I'm thinking 37 years old. So we're not going to say, hey, your water heater is going to go out tomorrow, but we're going to say it may be past its design life. It was still putting out a lot of hot water, but it was 37 years old. And usually about 10 years, we start to say, you need to be looking at this. It may be close to its design life. We're going to talk about the interior of the home. We're going to talk about the walls. We're going to talk about the ceilings, floors, steps, railings, countertops, cabinets, garage doors, and openers. The other day we did a 100-year-old home, and it had, quote unquote, a basement. It had a room in a lower level. Let's put it that way. I don't know that it was really a basement, but the stairs were about almost as steep as a ladder, and one of the treads were loose. So we want to make sure that the homeowner knows those things ahead of time. We're going to talk about ventilation systems. We're going to talk about insulation materials, ventilation of attics, foundational areas, and mechanical ventilation. We're going to talk about ventilation in the attics. We're going to talk about ventilation in the crawl spaces. Ventilation is not for warm air. It's more for humidity and water, to make sure that that is balanced to the outside humidity. We're going to talk about fireplaces, whether it's a gas fireplace or a solid fuel burning appliance. We're going to talk about all the chimneys. We're going to talk about all the vents. We cover all of that. Let's go to slide number 12, please. The do-it-yourself community can be very creative. We see a lot of strange things. This was more of an Ohio, but if you look at this, this is in a basement. Somebody has cut a floor joist so they could get some new plumbing in. And then to make sure it was secure, they tied it up with rope. That's not a good plan. Let's see. Let's go to 13. This is a brand new home. We have no insulation. What's happened is you had different contractors. You had an insulation contractor and probably an electrician. And when the insulation guy got out there, the electrician says, hey, it's not done. You can't have it until the day after tomorrow. Well, the day after tomorrow came and he forgot to go back. Brand new home, no insulation. These are some of the things we check for. On homes that have insulation, we check and make sure that it's what kind it is and how uniform it is. Let's see. Let's go to 14. Aluminum foil can fix anything.
Right.
If you got a leak there, just wrap it up with aluminum foil. We've seen tape, we've seen plastic, we've seen duct tape. Duct tape it's like aluminum foil. It fixes just about anything and everything. But these are some of the things that we see. We see a lot of things, but these are some of the interesting ones that we've seen. Let's go to number 15, please. Defects. No home is perfect. Buyers look to us, home inspectors, to give them peace of mind about the home they have chosen. The other day, I inspected a home that was finished in 2020. There was not a lot wrong with it, but we did find some things that the state of Arizona says you must have. And so we reported on those, but no home is perfect. Let's go to slide 17. Defects cause for alarm, not cause for alarm, but cause for concern. We have a lot of stucco in Arizona. And with stucco, we have some cracks. But 9 times out of 10, they're not a problem. What we are going to look for is a lateral shift. If something has shifted, and then we see the crack from that. We look for water intrusion. It looks bad on a ceiling, but it may have been taken care of. Yesterday, we had a house that had some water intrusion, had some water stains on the ceiling. The roof was brand new. So what had happened was they had a water leak. They fixed the water leak, but they didn't fix the paint in that Arizona room where they seen it. So basically, instead of saying you've got a leak, you say you had a leak at one time, but now it's been fixed. Cracks in the floor, seldom a problem. We have what's called expansive ground here. So the ground is kind of loose. You'll also see a lot of homes have post-tension slabs. Very important to know that and to make sure the customer knows what that is, because that can be dangerous. Drywall cracks may be an indicator, which means we did a house the other day. It was 100 years old. There were some cracks in the walls because it had sat there for 100 years. And it moved a little bit, and houses do move, they do settle, and we will see little cracks. They can be repaired. It's not something to get alarmed about. We do talk about mold a little bit. Arizona is very dry. We don't have a lot of mold, but it does happen. I have seen it. And usually it's not a problem. It has to be remediated, but we ensure that where there's mold, it's because it's caused by water. So we just have to make sure that the water intrusion has been fixed. And you can consider a mold test, and we have that available, and we also have remediation available here in Tucson. Let's see, where are we at? Let's go to 17.
Dave, quick question.
Yeah.
I've heard that mold is more prevalent in mobile and manufactured homes. Can you speak on that a little bit?
So the manufactured homes are very, how do I want to say? They're very tightly sealed. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Because they're built indoors under I know what I want to say, but I'm not saying it very well. They're just very tight. They're almost airtight. And in fact, a lot of the new homes now are so airtight that they've had to add a fresh air filter or a fresh air source. So yeah, that can be a problem, and that is something that we look at. And in those manufactured homes, because they're as they're built, they're wrapped with plastic too. They'll put the walls in, they'll put the insulation in, then they wrap it all the way around with plastic. So it can be, because that's the issue, is water, and it sits there and it grows mold. The newer homes that have that fresh air, we call it a fresh air return, is actually kind of above one of the other filters. But the houses were so tight, airtight, that you had the door open, and if the furnace or the air conditioner kicked on, it slammed the door shut. So this just brought in more air, more fresh air. So you have less humidity, I guess is the word I want. But in those manufactured homes, yes, it can be an issue, and that is something that we look for.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
Oh, yes. 17, no cause for alarm, but cause for concern, water intrusion. Again, everything can be fixed. So we just need to find out if we have water intrusion, and we look for ceiling stains, we look for floor joists, band boards, that if it's had water on it, it's going to leave a mark. Evidence of persistent water in a crawl or a basement, a crawl space or a basement. It's always fun when we have those manufactured homes, pardon me, and I get a crawl under there and look for all the stuff and the snakes and the mice and the rats and whatever else we can find. We don't see a lot of this here, but it does happen. And if it does happen, it's not a cause for alarm, but a cause for concern. We need to find out where the water's coming from, and let's get that fixed. Let's see. The important thing for you guys to know is everything can be fixed. And if we can arm them with knowledge, knowledge is going to be the factor here that makes them feel confident enough to buy the home. Let's go to slide 18. What defects can kill the deal? Potentially anything. So a professional home inspector will not blow your deal. Make sure your inspector has a good bedside manner. Terminology and communication. I stress to my clients, usually you can see that blank look in their face when I start talking about GFCIs or BTUs or some acronym that they're not familiar with. And I'll ask them, do you know what I'm talking about? And they'll kind of shyly shake their head like, no, not really. So we will explain what we're talking about. And I'll even ask, do you know what this is? Can I show you this? So they don't walk away with an inspection that they say, look what's all wrong with this house. They walk away with knowledge. And if they have knowledge, it's not as daunting because again, we're asking them to spend the most money in their lifetime on this one deal. Realistically, nothing should kill the deal. The common sources, the big 3 or 4, the roof, the HVAC, electrical panels. I'm going off of this because we don't really talk about mold, but it's the electricity, the plumbing, the roof. Did I say HVAC? That's that's what they want to know. Do I need to put in a new air conditioner as soon as I buy this house? Is my roof going to leak? Do I have to put on I don't want to find out a month afterwards when the monsoon gets here that there's a hole in the roof. The walkthrough is critical. So your home inspection happens, and then we want to do a summary. You want that agent, that home inspector, not the agent. You want the home inspector to give them a walkthrough, to let them know what they found. And it's not so much what you say, but it's how you say it. We focus on calmly educating. Again, professional inspector is not there to prove to you how much they know about code, how much they know about this or that. A home inspector is there to do a bipartisan education on the things they found in the home. Let's go to number 19. How can agents help clients to prepare for the home inspection? Let's go to slide 20. Prepare your buyers, especially a first-time buyer, younger buyers, for the inspection. No home is perfect. Again, the home that was built less than a year ago, we found things that didn't match up with the Arizona standard of practice. No home is perfect. Everything is fixable. This one is a little different. Attend inspection if possible. In Phoenix, the home inspector can actually have the Smart Key app on their phone and can get into the key lock and do the inspection on their own. In Tucson, that's not the way it works. The agent has to let me in, has to let the home inspector in, and is supposed to stay there while the home inspector is doing the inspection. So this one's not a kind of if possible. You are expected to be there during the inspection. Communicate with a listing agent. A lot of times, they're a wealth of information that we can draw on. If we have a question on the home, we want to have a good rapport with that listing agent because he wants to sell the home too. But we want to have a good communication line with them. It's important to be comfortable with how your inspector presents the findings. You have to be comfortable with the process, you as the agent. The home inspector works for the client, but yet represents you. So you have to be comfortable with the way they present their findings. And I go back to what we said earlier. A professional home inspector will never blow your deal. If he does, he shouldn't be your home inspector. You want to have with that walkthrough, you want it to be educational, on site, and a verbal walkthrough. Available for questions after the inspection. I always ask, do you have any questions of me today? And if they do, we go over them. I give them my card with my cell phone on it. And I say, you're going to get the report later today. And if you have any questions, call my cell. I will answer it. If I don't answer it, leave a message. I will call you back. And I would give that information to you guys. As a professional courtesy, if you get out and look at a home, and even if I'm not your inspector and you see something and you don't know what it is, you can call me. Send me a picture. Dave, what is this? And we'll figure it out. I'll be glad to help you. Let us go to slide 21. Tips for the inspection. And it's always best to have your HVAC serviced and cleaned. At a minimum, have the air filters cleaned. That's almost a call out on every inspection. Hey, these guys have, and I mean, some of these filters are gross. So you want the house to be orderly. If you can have it, you have it serviced anyway. So, have it done before the home inspection. Check for any leaks. It's easy. A lot of these leaks are easy to fix beforehand instead of having it show up on a report. Look for ceiling stains. And if you've had ceiling stains and they've been fixed, get them painted. Clean up any old problems. The inspector is going to find any issues out there. So if you can clean those up, it just looks better. And at the end, there'll be less to talk about in our findings. Clean and orderly equals maintained. We've gone into homes, sometimes the homes are empty, but we've gone into homes and they just look immaculate. And you walk in, you say, this is going to be easy. And then there's those other homes. And you walk in and you say, oh my gosh. And all of a sudden there's problems just because the home's not been maintained. It's not neat. It's not orderly. It's not clean. So have that done ahead of time. Pre-sale home inspections. There's several ways to do that. A lot of it, some of it is just common sense, like we've talked about. And there's actually a list out there, a checkoff list that you can supply to your clients, and if they can get those done beforehand, it's just less that's going to show up on the report. They even actually now have some pre-inspections by home inspectors that go out and do it before a buyer comes along. If the house is vacant, make sure all the utilities are turned on. This is going back to having a good open conversation with the listing agent. So the house is vacant. They turn the gas off. I come in to do the inspection. They've got a gas heater. They've got a gas stove. They've got a gas water heater. They've got a gas furnace. I can't check any of them. I tell them the gas is off. I don't know. So then you have to call the listing agent or the owner. You've got to get it turned on. And then you call me and I have to come back and do a re-inspection, which is just added cost. So make sure you've got, especially if it's vacant, been vacant for a while, make sure that the utilities are on. Have clear access to the attic, crawl space, heating systems, garages. Defects in a home that cannot be inspected are excluded from responsibility and report. We saw a garage the other day that you just walked through and just had shelves on each side. I can't tell them a whole lot about it, but if I can't get to the furnace, if I can't get to the attic, I can't inspect it. Let's go to slide 22. It's important to set reasonable expectations with your buyer and your seller. And we will include reasonable expectations page in every home inspection report. And the report should be read in its entirety. What we do is not a warranty. It's not, and so you want to make that known. It's not a warranty. It's not insurance. It's not an appraisal. We're not going to tell them how much it costs to get this fixed. But that report has a lot of very valuable information that you'll need. Again, it's just a snapshot of the home. It's what we see in the home the day of inspection. And we want to follow up with our client, ask if they have questions. And again, I always give them my card and say, you can call me at any time. Let's go to number 23. So a home inspection is important, but why is it important? It provides protection for the buyer. They say that the appraisers protect the banks and inspectors protect the home buyer. We're there to make sure they know what they're getting into. We take a snapshot of that home and we give them an education on the things that they didn't see because they're probably looking at where they're going to put their furniture. It provides a verbal introduction to the home, not only a verbal introduction, but also a written report that you can always go back to. It provides the information to make necessary, informed decisions. And it helps provide peace of mind. Let's go to number 24. Evaluating home inspection companies. Not all companies are the same. Be sure to do your research because usually the real estate agent is bringing the home inspector in on the job because most of your clients aren't going to know home inspectors and they're not going to Google. They're going to look to you. Who would you recommend? So you have to be comfortable with who your home inspector is and what he does. Let's go to slide 25. How to evaluate your inspection companies. Do they have proper certification licensing? And we talked about those, AHIT, ASHI, INTERNACHI. Do they have those? I actually had an agent ask me the other day, it's the first time they asked me, first time I've been asked, are you a member of ASHI? Yes, ma'am, I am. How long have they been in business? It's important to know that. Now, if you did the calculations, and if you were listening earlier, you understand that I opened up for business in October of last year. But at the same time, when I started in October, I'd already done more than 50 home inspections. So it's the experience, and it's how the company sets them up to succeed. Does your home inspector have a professional website? Does his professional website have a sample report? Does he come in a uniform, or does he just come in blue jeans and a t-shirt? Is his vehicle marked? Is he easily known, easily identifiable? Or does he just show up with a pickup truck and a sign slapped on the side? How available are they? If you keep calling your home inspector and he's not available, again, you're bringing them into the deal. They need to be responsible. They need to be available. How easy is it to begin and work through the process of home inspection? On the wrap up, how easy is it to do they do that wrap up, that education, the way that you like? Are you comfortable with how they present their findings? Slide 26. Building better relationships. Our company strives to build relationships with real estate agents so that we can help you do your job. The better I know how you do your job, and the better you know how I do my job, the better we can serve your client. Professional service to the client's team, and that's we become a team. You should become a team with your home inspector, and your home inspector should be part of your team. And that helps make more referrals for everyone. So let's go to slide 27. Let's see if I don't think, I don't have my name or my email or any of that in there. I'll be glad to give that to you. I'll be glad to give you my email, my cell number, and happy to help you guys in any way I can. I hope this was beneficial. Does anybody have any questions? We covered a lot of territory.
How about pools? How does that, do you inspect the pools as well?
It's an additional service, but yes, ma'am.
Okay.
In fact, I've got 2 today to inspect. I don't want to make this a home team commercial, but yeah, we can help with any of the ancillaries that you need. And at some time, if you guys are ever interested in home team, I would be more than happy to give you more of a commercial and not just a 101 training. I will give you my phone number. It's or I can. I don't know, Kayla, how you want to.
If you want to go ahead and just pop all your info in the chat, and then we'll get you on our Facebook page too.
That'd be too easy. That's why, Kayla, that's why you're the boss. Kayla, I want to say thank you to you. It's not letting me chat, Kayla. I'm not sure why.
If you want to read me your phone number, I'll type it in for you.
Okay, 217-855-9767. I still have my Illinois area code.
And then your email, it's dtewell, right?
Yep, DTEWELL @hometeam.com. We had some issues on my end of making my technology match up with KW's technology. So Kayla has been extremely patient and kind with me and very, very helpful. Thank you so much.
Anytime. All right, so Dave, I'll get you on Facebook too. That way everybody has access to it. And then this class will be on our YouTube channel. Probably if Zoom uploads it by the end of today, it'll be on there today. If not, it'll be on there on Monday morning.
Okay. That's all I have, unless there's other questions.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Dave. We really appreciate your time.
Kayla, thank you. I appreciate it. Bye-bye. Bye all.